vowel enunciation sounds that come through it.
First thing we're going to be using, thermal imaging. So this is a FLIR thermal imaging camera. So this is going to be the camera of choice for tonight. So when I say that this is a FLIR, this is an attachment for a cell phone. This is what firemen would use to actually just throw on their phone and go run into a burning building. So this is the real deal. This is not a phone app you guys can go home and download. Just so you know, I have tested most of them. Most of them are garbage. They don't do anything. They're just there for effect. So with this one, I will tell you also that this is actually a downgrade. My upgrade actually broke a few weeks ago. Somebody dropped it, so I'm waiting for the insurance to actually send me the cash so I can go get the new one. They're not cheap. Otherwise, I would just pay for it right out of pocket.
They're like $200 or $300 a piece.
Like $6.
$6?
Yeah. So for the one I was using before, it was about $6. So this one here is probably, I don't know, between $2 and $3. So you can probably find used ones cheaper.
Did it capture anything cool before it was dropped, or was it
Just clumsily dropped?
Oh.
And again, they take quite a bit of abuse. Like that one actually had some pretty nice like bumper corners on it. Like it had been dropped. That wasn't the first time. It had its last drop. So with this, what do you think we're looking for?
Heat signatures or cold spots?
Cold spots. Exactly. So don't overthink it. I think you guys are already on the right path. So I usually have to pull teeth with you guys. Like, what are we looking for? So we're looking for cold spots. You should be able to see me in there. So red, orange, and yellow guy. So with my skin temperature. And I'm keeping it low because we have some folks nearby that might be uncomfortable with me like holding a camera in my hand. So again, you guys are getting the point on this. We're going to be out and about near people. But we are looking for cold spots. They're going to be blue and black. I'm looking for them to either take shape or to start moving on their own. We're always going to have blue and black in there because of windshields, aluminum cans. You guys get the point. When I say take shape, by the way, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. That's what we're looking for. That's what we've caught in the past with this guy. I also love to give you guys stats. I am not a TV show host and I'm not here to make shit up. I capture about 4 to 5 pieces on this per year that I would put my stamp of approval on. I am out here 6 to 7 nights a week. Yeah, I do this a lot. So just kind of keep that in perspective when you guys are watching this. Now, are there weird things that will pop up where I'm like, yeah, there's a couple of dozen of those per year where I'm not really sure, but I'm not really unsure either. So again, with this particular camera, super cool to watch. We're going to be using this for about half of our night, and then we're going to swap cameras. So in middle, just based on that particular location. With each location we go to, it's kind of a know your ghost mentality. I feel like you guys are like super in tune with like the paranormal lingo, so I'm going to go a little bit extra. With that, as we kind of move throughout the night, again, we're going to swap out devices and move things around a little bit, and we're going to be doing a bunch of different styles of experiments. So again, what you're getting in your hand might not be the only thing that you use tonight. And by all means, I would say, like, because you guys like seem like you're really like, I really want to try this shit out, keep the devices with whoever you came with, but by all means swap things out between the two of you on each party. Let's see Parker, this one's gonna
That was interesting.
And I did it at 16.
Okay. So that's your new baseline. Gotta get Megan to put talking to it some more. Megan, what do you got? You want to keep it running for the entire time, because again, if you turn it on, by the time you think you saw something, it's already gone. So
Yeah.
again, right now it just looks like you're holding a cell phone, but if you're like walking up on them with that in your face, you know what I mean, that would be a whole different ballgame. I appreciate you being, trying to be a little, inconspicuous. But yeah, I would definitely say just like what you're doing right now. We're just sitting here chit-chatting. We're not like filming and staring at a camera and that kind of thing. They're not going to be suspicious of that. But yeah, if you walked up to them and you're like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" and you're holding the camera right up to them, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on there. But
Yeah, and again, you might not because the camera is small. When you put it up on your TV, it might be a whole different ballgame. That's the whole fun part of this for me is when I spot check your videos. Again, it's on a computer screen. I get to watch them in order and kind of see what's going on in there. It might not always be a real-time moment on the camera,
Yeah.
but again, with most of the cameras that I have, it's between we'll just say an average of 4 to 8 pieces per year. Between the cameras. That one's about a 4 to a 6 that I'll get per year, but the infrared that I use is closer to 6 to 8, and then the SLS camera is the same thing, 4 to 5
Gotcha.
purses per year. So when I do find them, it is an oh shit moment, and I have I'm in my office hell yeah everybody, and I'm up there by myself. Nobody can hear me, but I'm still cheering it on. But that's kind of how my life works. I just stay down here until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and get it all done, and then drive home. Do it all again the next day. It's life, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's a good time. Find your passion and do what you love to do. I don't know how old you are, but you look pretty young. Are you still in high school?
17.
17.
I just graduated.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
So my daughter is the same age and just graduated as well. So I completely understand that. As far as being 17 and not quite an adult, but yet you're at high school. Any plans to go to school?
Virginia Tech.
Nice. Doing what?
Geography.
Okay.
Like satellites.
Nice. Very cool. I'm going to follow up with Kaylee one last time, and I'm probably going to yank us all back together again. See if we have any other words pop up.
All right.
Keep it running. Let's kind of go over all these answers and show you how we start together. Obviously, we'll do the monitor. But everything else that we monitor, we're kind of covering this. I always like to explain the EMF because I do get a lot of levels. The little blinky light device, so Megan just got all the way up to a 25. Was it a 25 decimal something or just 25?
25.
Okay, so the little blinky light device only goes to 25. So the average for this location is between 18 to 22. So kind of keep that in perspective. Now, your TV set, if you were to put one of those devices behind the TV set, it normally gives off about a 40 to a 60 milliamps. So it kind of gives you a rough idea. Your microwave heating up your food, and you set your device on the outside of the microwave that's on and heating up, it's going to run about 150 to 170 depending on the wattage of the microwave. The highest I've ever seen those devices go has been at this location. Those devices go to 200 milliamps. Well, I've watched it error out, which means it went over 200 and I don't know how high. It did that 3 times within 15 minutes, and the rest of that 15-minute time span, it was in the triple digits. I have epilepsy. That is too much electricity in the air for the guy with the neurological disorder. That's why we've left. So you guys will take my point. They're my safety directors. I always have at least one of those out at all times. Very interesting case. So I am excited about the 25. By the way, this is me excited. Because there are some nights that we come in here and we only get a 5. But there's always a little bit of something. So I would say 5 out of 7 nights a week we get that 18 to 22. So let's kind of cover all of the answers. Thanks for the super bright. Let's see. So I will always break out a tablet if there's like picture pages to show and kind of going over all of the answers. Any other words? You said you got Daniel. Act. I do like the name Daniel. Remind me to kind of highlight that when I get to that part. So picture pages of all of the answers to show you how it all ties together. At least what we have caught in real time. Let's see. So this is Eliza Lucas Pinkney. This is the woman that we were trying to get in contact with. This is the second wife, maiden name being Lucas. First wife, Eliza Lamb Pinkney. So Lamb and Lucas are the two names that we would have been looking for. This wife married Charles at the age of 22. Chuck was 45. 23-year age gap between the two of them. So again, I don't think we have a couple tonight that's actually in that age gap, so I don't have to put my foot in my mouth. So sometimes I have to do that. It just happens. What happened to the mansion? So those were focus questions too. This is fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. Now, oftentimes we get the word fire, burning, blaze, anything from extreme heat. We will also get 2 or 3 numbers from the exact date, like I said, 12, 11, 61. I'm going to point out something. So Parker, just so you're not so uncomfortable, go ahead and hit stop on your camera.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to see.
Yeah, you look very uncomfortable. I'm like, let's get him to stop.
I'm pretty flexible.
Somebody's going to die of dysentery on that trip because it's going to be at least 3 weeks long to get up there, minimum. So the other question is if Eliza's buried up in Philadelphia, what the hell are we doing down here in the middle of an empty parking lot? I'm only taking you to one cemetery tonight because of the anniversary of what goes on in that particular location. Otherwise, I wouldn't take you to any. Reason being is it's minimal activity at best. I do this for a living. I take people to places of raised emotion. Again, I already told you there's nothing horrific here, but she did fall in love here, raise her family here, and learn about her indigo that helped get her country started. It was a very big deal. So none of you are going to be staring at your headstones when you're gone. You're going to go to your mansions 400 miles away, which is exactly why we are standing on gravel. Who wants to take a guess who the president was that was the pallbearer at the funeral? 1793.
Washington.
It was Washington. How'd you come up with that?
Well, I'm just looking at the timeline.
Okay.
I got Washington when we were back over there, but...
Oh. Here's the funny thing. Normally, when...
Founding fathers, these guys were all in there.
Right, and I kind of, like, that's why I was asking, like, how did you come to that? Because when we got over here, I told y'all I'm not going to be giving you questions like, what color is George Washington's white horse?
You know, found basically my job on a my resume. You know, the job description was my resume. So I started working back there again. That was probably the easiest job interview I ever had. It was like the guy calls and was like, "I see you worked here," and I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Who do you know?" And I start rattling all the civilians' names off, and he turns around. He goes, "I'll give you a call back." So he calls the command and was like, "Yes." And he called me back 2 days later and was like, "Your start date is," and I was like, 30-minute phone conversation. I can't get much better than that. It's bizarre. Like,
and bizarre is when human activity. Right directly on the other side of it.
Well, that's where we're going next.
There's a whole load of people over there. Camera flashes.
It's probably a wedding. There's no way they captured what we're going to be going after. There's no way. It's probably something else. Taylor, let's start off with you. What'd you hear?
I got no action, no accident, baby powder, shower. Our country is in a state of urgency. Because it stinks, and it either said boys or voice after. And then just a lot of songs, but nothing, no lyrics that like I could actually pick out.
Word list.
What else is panic?
Because
There was, yeah. Just page A. Mexican, honest, cool, employee, respect, data, Israeli, cold, popular, Harold.
Let's listen to the radio. It's gonna pick up. So in here, go ahead and do a hard reset on your Envoy. You're going to be looking for the letters RI as initials. I'll explain that as we kind of move through here. EMF devices, both of them. Air conditioning unit, sorry, I should have warned you about that. EMF devices, you're going to be looking for an 8 or an above at this location. That's your new baseline starting here, just because we do have some lampposts in here and we are in a tight space. So just kind of, again, do we see it often? About once a month I'll see like a 10. So just kind of keep that in perspective. Obviously you've got your camera running. I'm guessing that's why you're standing like that. Perfect. Now, in the event other tours will come through here, they're going to come out of that ivy wall because there are steps right there next to that trash can. Or they're going to come in the exact same way that we did. Now, other tourists can walk all the way through here. Tour guides, but tourists cannot. So in the event we see a bunch of tourists, because this is a very romantic alley, we do see a lot of people just cutting through us. We'll just kind of split the seats, let them go. I'll stop talking, and then we'll continue. So again, you guys are going to be the weirdos. If other tourists come in here, you're usually the ones that they're pointing at because you're using blinky light devices and they're not. Again, it's the jealousy boost. Now, where are we? We are in Philadelphia Alley. This place used to be called Jewelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. And I say some of the duels is because it was illegal and they had to find hiding spots. It just happened to be one of the hiding spots. So here's how this story goes. Which, by the way, every ghost story comes down here. It's kind of a staple. I just happened to look down on my watch. Again, I don't normally time this, but we are here a little bit later than what we normally are, which is why there's probably no other tours down here at this exact moment. So again, I'm going to be stirring shit up, and we're going to go up and around where that panic button was around the corner. And we're going to swap cameras. So me and Parker will swap the cameras. I'll take his, and he'll put a new one in his hands, and I'll explain what we're going to be doing up there. But here's how the story goes. Again, every ghost tour tells it. I just give you a few extra details because they're ghost hunting, not on a campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. There's your first RI. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So in the event that the song Brown Eyed Girl shows up for you while you're here, it's part of his name. We get it all the time. It's not coincidence. Now, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash and stuff. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. He comes here to Charleston to prove that he's not. And on his way into town, the coachman he had set him up to be robbed and killed. It was like having a really bad Uber driver in today's world. Now, somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen because he knew the coachman. So somebody walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. Do those initials sound familiar to you? Ralph Isaacs? That's exactly why we have the device that's in his hand. We were getting the letters RI all the time, like somebody spelling something out for us. And I would say probably 2 or 3 times a month. So I did buy that device for this location. We've had it, and I've had that device for probably about a year now. We've had it about 7 or 8 times whenever I bring up Ralph's name, and it's been on Ralph's name every time. Moving on, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them. You'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's making his own. Amanda gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can be married. Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. This is why I hate the story. It's a giant cliche. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. This just happens to be a doctor in Charleston. Now, why am I in Jewelers Alley telling you about a whistling doctor? let's get into that. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So on the way home from seeing Richard III one night, they were arguing over the new actress that they just saw. Doc thought she was great. Ralph didn't. Ralph is now insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island, and it got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Now, I've already told you that Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of shit. Doc saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dooley's Alley. Somebody's going to die over this little stupid argument over an actress. Here comes another tour, just like I said. They're perfectly fine. So what we'll do is if they do decide to come down the car, we'll just kind of split the seats. We may stop like right around there, or you may take them all the way down. But anyway, so they're coming down here. Oh, I'll pause now so I can let this whole part through. How you doing, man? Anything coming up on that word list? Or wait?
11 and then 20.
Yeah, I got mine. Oh, the 11. Yeah, versus.
Yes, it was 5 verses. But I did that verses.
Almost like versus like in a duel.
Yeah.
So,
I got my choice.
I do like the number 11. It's going to make sense here in a minute. I just put that together in my head. Now, the two gentlemen came down here after he said, let's go to Dooley's Alley. Back to back, took their 10 paces. They turned. Doc points his gun in the air. Shot his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to go up. It was often what happened at a duel. However, Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock still. He puts it in the kneecap of the doctor. The doctor died. Fell to the ground. Friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786 after refusing medical treatment. Thanks again.
Hey guys,
How's it going,
sorry to
man?
interrupt.
Are you good? You're good.
Thanks.
Y'all getting anything over here?
Nothing over here yet.
Here yet?
He's also a doctor. He probably tried to lead poisoning, tried to take it out himself, but obviously failed. So every ghost story comes down here and tells their guests to listen to the verses. Obviously the 11th is relevant to November 2nd. So again, hopefully November 2 or 86 will show up somewhere. So I'm kind of excited about that. Now they're all pouring in here. So we may actually have to just get out of here. Any 8 or above from the semester. We're running that on camera right now, and my voice after there is a body is going to show up on one of those devices. So I will tell you that take a walk all the way through here without me, because I can't take you all the way through without me going out of here. We're going to talk about that because that's the fun part of the story. But voice recorders, you walk all the way through, just know every local knows this. We all know this. Anybody walking up and down Cleaner, Cumberland, we all know it without a doubt. It's just a thing we do here in Charleston. So, let's talk about how I got thrown out of here. The alley didn't go all the way through where we came in. The reason why is because there was a wall up there. And it actually was because this was called Cow Alley before it was Dooley's Alley. So, in a nutshell, the bricks down on the other side are older than the bricks we're standing on now. Those bricks down on the other side by Queen Street are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child on there, and fingerprint swipes and others. I used to stick my boots all the way through here just for the history lesson. I'm not going to tell them all about it. You already know how I feel about going into graveyards and stuff. That kid's not there. It's the last place you're going to find him. November 26th of 2020. I took my entire group down there to go take a look at the handprint for their history lesson, and I'm trying to shoot them along because they're all standing around the damn brick waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen. Let's go. We're also standing outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful not realizing we were out of bounds. I was so new at this, and I didn't know my limit. Until the new owner of that mansion came out, scolded me. My daughter thought it was hysterical because her father was getting yelled at. She was on the floor that night. She was probably about 14 years old at the time. Again, you can imagine her surprise, but she thought it was great. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't score on Thanksgiving because I worked in upper management for Walmart before I started doing this. And you guys like to fight over towels on Thanksgiving, and you started me filling. Yeah, not doing Thanksgiving ever again. Moving on. The next day was the 28th. I called my partner that brought me into tourism. I don't work with him anymore. I don't didn't realize that. But I told him what happened, so I could try to figure out what to do next. He laughed at me just like my daughter did. He said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. You gotta reroute your group. Well, that was problems, man, because I didn't have any good paranormal investigation stories going this way, nor did I have any lucrative evidence. So I told my group that night, I don't believe, I'm not a big believer of this next story, because I've never had anything happen. I'm into vampires, not pirates. Now, the next story, the one that I told you I had to kind of alter, was the pirate story. So we're not going to be doing that, but let me tell you why I'm all excited about this. Before we left the space, somebody with a spirit box for the name Anne. I didn't tell them what pirate we were going to be looking for. A female pirate, named Bonnie. So I'm like, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. I took them around the corner, told them when I did know about pirates in Charleston, which wasn't much, but then I had a few hours to do some quick research. Somebody else with another spirit box for the number 300. I know what it meant. I wrote it down, we researched. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonnie's trial for piracy. November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. Now, I normally get shit like your reaction just now. I was actually pissed off. Let me explain. I have a master's degree in creative writing, so all of my other degrees, all my bachelor's degrees are in some type of writing. When I'm doing anything, especially paranormal investigations, facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which was written 100 years after the golden age of piracy, the days of Blackbeard and Anne Bonny. I have read more books on pirates, watched more documentaries, and you get the point. I've done a lot of shit ton of research, and now I can't do the story anymore, because that place is kind of off limits. So what we're going to be doing up around the corner, like I said, we're going to be, I'll tell you the story as I'm swapping cameras out with Parker, and kind of tell you what goes on and why every ghost story goes up there. It's normally their last hurrah, and I'm going to probably keep this story in here for at least another week until I can figure out where to kind of take us in between, thinking her from here to our last two stops, because they're real close to each other. Just because this is the anniversary week of what goes on at this cemetery, and I'll kind of talk about that and kind of go through things. Before we leave the space, did you hear anything weird, or are you focused on
I was trying to do both, and I don't think I should have yet.
Yep. We'll see how you do as we get through the entire evening. Megan, what about you?
This body will be dumped. My name is Gray.
That's the second time you've had this body.
Yeah.
Any words being spelled out for us? That's just running. We're in his house. So, he's rustling them out. He doesn't come near us. He's not
98.
98. Any words spelled out for us on the
No, I just have the letter P. And it's been scrolling.
Okay. Alright, we're going to actually go up and around the corner. We're going to exit the way we came in. Dr. Ladd will follow us. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then there will be places of raised emotion for him for the rest of the evening. So again, he follows me for the next 3 stops.
So, understand that we're here to this pool.
Right.
Do we know about in this alley where that took place?
They probably would have started. You see where the first light is that's actually lit?
Yeah.
It probably would have ended right there. So 10 paces going forward, so it's going to be about 25 feet from there. So about another 25 feet. So those are, it's probably at that second light from here. Off to the right is probably where they started. Took their, because it is 50 feet exactly for 20 paces apart. So again, you kind of have to look at it in perspective, and it would have been a crowd. Yeah. I also like to point out the gate. The reason why I stopped here is
That's what I was wondering about the gate.
well, remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this one, right? So you do all of them. So in the event there was a loser in the duel, this archway is the gate wasn't there. Was the shortcut to get over to the cemetery that we're about to go look at. Otherwise, they'd have to walk all the way down to Queen Street and then double back to the dead body. So you guys are seeing the point. I call this the death gate, and the wrought iron was probably put there in the early 1900s, but the archway you can see is part of the original wall. Definitely put there for a reason. So you can go ahead and pick stop on that guy. You can slide it in your pocket if you want to, because we're going to swap out once we get over there, and I can open up my bag. But yeah, we're going to go interrupt his tour, and that's perfectly fine, because he'll probably fist bump me as we do it, because we say hello to each other.